Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm coming to you with a most frequently asked question that I get on my channel, and that question would be, how do you manage to keep up your languages? How do you manage to keep them fresh, to not forget them? And well, to be honest, in most of the languages I'm kind of fluent, so once you're fluent, you don't really get to a point where you forget things. It's kind of in your system, but it's been a journey. So one thing that can help you really, that I stress all the time, is speaking to natives. And this is what I do up until now to keep my languages fresh and not forget things. Of course, it's normal to forget little things here and there, but still I manage to keep most of them fresh and up to date because I speak with natives as much as possible and whenever and wherever I can. I'm really blessed to have international friends, to be in an international environment. I live in an international city where there are tons of nationalities, of cultures, of ethnicities, of people like from all over. It's a cosmopolitan city, so this is a blessing to live in such a city, because obviously you're gonna meet people from all over the world, from every corner of the world. It's not that hard to find people from everywhere basically, and this is what I experienced since living here. Also, while traveling, you always find people like from all kinds of walks, like from all over. Right now, for example, with my Spanish, I'm speaking it daily almost, because I'm surrounded by a lot of Spanish speaking friends. Since the beginning, I've made it known that I wanted to speak Spanish with them rather than French, and obviously since it's their native language, they're more comfortable to speak in their native language with me, so they have no problem with it. So we kind of have it in our system already that with me they speak Spanish. The same thing with my Brazilian friends I have here. With me they speak Portuguese most of the time, because I stressed it that I really want to speak their language. Obviously it's more convenient for them, so they like it. A friend of mine, she's Peruvian, and we speak, like, since day one we speak Spanish, but she's fluent in French, I'm fluent in French, but still we speak Spanish to each other. It's been like that, like, since the beginning, and she always makes it known to me that she forgets that I'm German. Actually, this is an excellent way to keep your languages fresh, to speak also like a native, to get their accents, to kind of like acquire a native accent, because the more you surround yourself with native speakers, the more you get to listen and acquire that accent. So that's an important thing, to also kind of like speak like a native and not sound like so foreign. That's a great thing, because I feel like if you learn a language, you should also try to minimize the accent, because a lot of times people who speak a language and do have like a really strong accent are not taken seriously. If you like kind of like speak more like a native, you're automatically taken like more seriously by the actual natives. I experience that in any kind of language, so I try and do that the most. But of course, doesn't mean that you should lose your accent completely, but yeah, just kind of like minimize it. I've gotten comments saying that, what do I do if I don't have friends to speak to? What do I do if I don't have people around me who are native speakers of the language I want to learn? For this, I have a great answer and a great tip that I did myself before having actually friends I could speak to on a daily basis. And the thing I did was I used an app to speak with native speakers. I started out doing this when I started out learning Portuguese. That was really the first time, because that was the first language I studied by myself. So I obviously had like, in the beginning I had like a couple of Portuguese speaking friends here and there, but I didn't really speak to them on a daily basis. So I figured, if I really want to get into it, I need to speak with native speakers as much as possible and on a daily basis, and like really like frequently, like all the time. And I did this along with my studies of watching telenovelas and getting my Portuguese pronunciation right, doing my exercises grammar wise and everything. So I did this along with all the rest of my exercises I did to study the language. I spoke to native speakers as much as possible. And a great app you can do that with, where you can talk to native speakers in the language that you're learning. Tons of languages and people, so you can basically find any language and native speaker you want to talk to. So go through several profiles of native speakers and just chat with them. And this is like the easiest way to connect with people and kind of like also make friends all over the world. Like, I know that I started out doing this and I met people, like I would sit in my room in Spain and chat with people like from Brazil, like improve my Portuguese with them. I would do exercises and they would correct my exercises. They would do German exercise, I would correct their exercises. So this is kind of like how I started out doing that, and it was really great because this is the easiest way if you don't have the opportunity to be in an international environment, in an international setting, and meet people to practice with. This is really the easiest way to connect with people from all over, and there's no excuse why you couldn't do it. This is like the best way I find. I don't know how you would want to learn otherwise if you don't speak to natives, because natives obviously have colloquial things they say, for example, and you can ask them like, why do you say things like that? What does that mean? I remember, for example, I would ask in Italian like, why do you say, what does that word mean and that word? And the person would actually explain to me like what it meant. And then I would also explain to them like, things you say in German means, or I would correct them like on the grammar. And when we would talk, they would say like, oh, that's not how you say things, but you say it this way and that way. So you can kind of like interact with them, and a lot of times you really actually like become friends with those people because you speak to them like kind of like not on a daily basis, but here and there, and you kind of like become friends with them, because most of the times those are also people who like to travel, who like are obviously into language learning. Connect and learn your languages the best and easiest way. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time around.